saw Micko, his intensity and his truthfulness was something that I realized what you have in your head as a director, you shouldn't be so married to. You should actually look for the most talented people. And so it actually brings a different level of story that he's slightly younger. And I think it breaks people's heart to see what happens, what he does in the film. And so I really, it's a combination of raw talent and hard work, but I see Micko going places in his career, and that this is hopefully just the beginning.
Okay, galing mo raw, Micko. Naintindihan mo ba yun, Micko? So, kumusta mga pangalawang beses yun na bang maging anak niya, no? Pangalawang beses?
Actually po, pangatlo.
Ano yung una? What's the first one?
Short film po yan eh.
Short film.
Alin lang ako sa panahon ng pagpapasyay po yung title.
Yung second mo?
Yung Bambante po, yun po yung full length.
And then ito.
Ito po yung pangatlo.
So, ano yung second mo? Bambante? Ano yun?
Scarecrow po.
Scarecrow. Ay, ano. And ito lang, kumusta si Alessandra kay Xena Micko? Na alam naman nila na magaling na artista. Nasabayan mo ba siya dito? Especially kanina, nagsasabihin mo, dami mong lalaki na.
Si Tita Alessandra po, ano po siya, pagdating po sa eksena na po mismo sa oras na po ng take, ano na po siya, seryoso na po. Kumbaga, pag may oras po ng biroan, may oras po na trabaho po talaga. Hindi po siya yung...
Luka-luka.
I mean, ano po siya? Hindi po, pag wala po kami sa take po, or kumakain na po kami ng break na. Ano po siya, palabiro po siya, tapos nakakatawa po siya palagi, kuya lagi mo po. Pero pagdating po sa yung take na po mismo, ano po siya, ayaw niya na po ng yung makaka-distract sa kanya. Gusto niya po yung, para matapos po kami agad, gusto niya po yung teamwork po kami lahat, tutulungan po kami para matapos po agad yung scene po.
Hindi ka naman natakot sa kanya nung third time na to?
Hindi naman po.
Kung hindi ka gaya nung mauna. Nung mauna natakot ka sa kanya? Hindi naman.
Hindi naman po. Bihira lang naman po ako magpasaway pag take na movies.
Okay. Tanong mo si Ben. Ben? Parasite won as Best Picture in the recent Oscar Awards. So, what can you say about Filipino films if you just like this? Do you have a chance?
Absolutely. I think Parasite winning completely changes the conversation for the Oscars and what they win. It levels the playing field in terms of what is really good cinema can rise and travel. And so, it really opens the doors for Filipino filmmakers and films to be considered for the Oscars. And actually, in France, the distributor that released Parasite bought this film and will release this next, and they see it as in the similar space for audiences. And so our hope is that, by this hybrid style filmmaking of, American director, Filipino cast and story, that we can help open the doors also to the conversations. And also people like Directorial and so many other filmmakers from here that are recognized internationally. It definitely feels like we're in a day and age where that's possible.
Okay, thank you. Are you staying here for good? Are you willing to do films for local producers, Ben? Will you be doing it?
I was here for about 6 months in the pre-production and production of the film, and then I'm here for a few weeks now. I actually haven't even begun to explore the country, so I'm excited. After this movie release, I'll go see more of the country because all I saw was Caloocan City the last time.
Caloocan.
Yeah, that's where we shot the film. So people say, "Oh, you went to Philippines. It's so beautiful." I said, "All I really saw was Second Avenue." But I would love to keep the conversation going if there are projects here. For me, it really comes down to the story. A film takes 2 years of your life, and it's 90 minutes of the audience's experience. So that 2 years has to be something you feel deeply to compel you through the whole process. And so for me, it really just comes down to story, and I do see incredible stories here.
If you would be given the chance to do a film, working with a local film, working with the local actors, what story in mind would you like to do that will that will be shown internationally?
I mean, this is it. This is the film. Yeah,
okay.
This is my 5th film, but to be honest, it's the one I'm most deeply proud of. It's a very emotional film, and I think that even though as an American director coming here, not knowing what a public audience would want, I also know that Filipino people are very like to feel deeply and are very family is very important. And so, regardless of sensibility, my hope is that the film connects with people on an emotional level. If you want to feel something very intensely, this film is for you.
Thank you and good luck, man.
Thank you.
Lar?
May question pa, Tita Lar?
Okay, Micko, please tell us, ano yung mga ginawa mo, between Bambanti and now Watchlist?
Sa Bambanti po kasi, batang laki po sa probinsya. Sa Isabela po namin sa Sinagpul. Sa Bambanti po, lang po siya, kumbaga kung paano lang po mamuhay yung pamilya po namin sa probinsya. Dito naman po sa Watchlist, sa kumbaga parang sa Maynila po yung buhay po namin, kung ano po yung nangyayari sa pag-ibig.
Oh, so ano yung ginawa mo? Ano yung pinagkaabalahan mo between after ng Bambanti at saka ito, Watchlist? Sa pagitan ng dalawang pelikula, ano yung mga pinagkaabalahan mo?
Sa Bambanti, pagkatapos po sa Bambanti po namin, kasi po, bumalik po. Pero nung nag-showing po kasi doon ko po naranasan yung unang paglabas po namin ng bansa. Doon po kami nag-showing sa Qatar. Tapos dito po sa Watchlist, normal pa rin naman po kasi habang nag-shooting pa rin naman po ako. Pumapasok pa rin naman po ako. Doon po kasi nung nag-shooting po kami ng Bambanti, absent po ako ng ilang week kasi po sa Isabela nga po, so mahaba po yun yan. Dito po, po siya, parang nakaschedule po yung pagpasok ko.
Okay, Ben, other stories that have been offered to you, stories from you?
There was a project that Alessandro and I were talking about. It was a wonderful collaboration, and there is that conversation of working together again. I would say, as a director, they say 90% of good directing is casting, and so this film, not just Alessandro and Micko, but Jake and Art, everyone is performing at their top game, and so it's a very different style performance, very grounded and reality based, and even just the producers like Sir Don and Eric, for them to take a risk on a film like this that's an international collaboration speaks volumes about them. And so I'm excited to continue all the conversations and possibilities.
I understand Watchlist has been to some festivals. How was that?
It's been a wild ride. We premiered in Seattle, and we went to Deauville, which is considered the best of the best American films from that year. And to be honest, it was the first Filipino film in Deauville. And they double checked. They said, "You're American, but the film is Filipino, so like, where does this fall into our category? And it said, it's for you to decide, and they still took it. So that was an incredible honor. We just won our first award at this Belgian festival last week for the best film. And so it's been remarkable, I think, to be able, the power of cinema is to bring these stories to the world. And hopefully by having, you know, international perspective and also local perspective, we can help open up the conversations and audiences around the world. So we will release in the US in April, theatrical release there, and then we also have the release in France coming and a few other territories. So yeah, it's landing with audiences.
Before watch list, what did you have any idea about the Philippines movie industry?
A little bit. I had only known, I'd seen Eric's film On the Job, and it blew me away with the type of stories that were being told from here. And so that's actually how I met Eric, was through those producers of that film, XYZ Films, in the US. I called them and I said, do you know anyone in the Philippines? And they said, yes, go talk to Eric and Sir Don. And so I had seen some of the more groundbreaking cinema coming from here, and that was really exciting to be able to come. And for me, like I said, it was, the decision was more from the heart. I felt called here. And so I always ask myself, like, why should I be the one to tell the story? But in some cases, you are the vessel for the story. I feel like the universe wanted it to happen, and it chose me to be the one to tell it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who else would like to ask? From Mr. Mel Navarro. Question from...
Hello, welcome to the Philippines, Direct. Are you familiar that there are other Filipino films that talk about extrajudicial killings, and were you able to have a glimpse about those films?
I have what about them?
Were you able to watch or have an idea that there are other films about extrajudicial killings?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them, and I'm aware of those the other stories. It's a very sensitive topic, and so the intensity that people feel about it, either one way or the other, for or against, is something that was most important for us to capture truthfully. So again, I feel I only made this film if we were saying something, adding to the conversation, not repeating what was already been said. And so our hope is that this could be the definitive film on the subject.
What major production problems did you encounter, if any, in shooting here in the Philippines?
I think shooting in the real neighborhoods in Caloocan, which is one of the most dangerous barangays in this particular Second Avenue. We discovered this neighborhood because Eric shot On the Job there and told us stories about going into the footpaths and getting lost. And I guess some of the realities is that what we're portraying in the film with the drug wars was actually happening in these neighborhoods. So it was oftentimes like somewhat distressing that there would be stories around us of what we were actually portraying. Early on, we'd shot by these train tracks and built part of the Maria's house there, and there was a train that came by and actually hit the set and took part of it with it. And it was a really long shoot outdoors and at nighttime, and people fell sick, and it was, for us, like, the most important thing is that people are safe, because I never, as a director, want to put people in harm's way. And so there was always a consideration of like safety first, especially if we're doing a film like this that's portraying the subject. We have to make sure that we're sensitive to everyone that's in front of the camera and behind the camera.
Maybe for my last question, why do you think the Filipino audience should watch your film next week?
Well, like I said, I think it's a story about family and love, and a mother doing anything to protect her children. And in America, we don't have the same strong family unit as here. And you know, on my Indian side of the family, it's similar. Like, you know, not just your mother, father, brother, sister, but aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. It's really the heart of the Filipino culture. And so for me, this is the love is what triumphs all. And so in hardship, I think that if, you know, Filipinos have a big heart, I felt. Most people I've met hold family close and are very warm and welcoming. And so my hope is that the film's heart speaks to the hearts of the people.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question from Cesar Batina.
Kay Micko po, we found out that this film was rated R16 by MTRCB. Micko, ano yung pakiramdam that hindi mo siya mapapanood sa big screen?
Okay lang naman po. Isang sa tanga lang po. Okay lang naman po kasi sensitive nga naman po yung nangyayari po. So, para sa akin, okay lang naman po kahit na, kasi napanood na rin naman po namin yung mga
Napanood mo na yung movie. Ano yung sa tingin mo yung pinaka-challenge na ginawa mo dito? Yung talagang sumubok sa pagiging artista mo?
yung ano po, yung part po na bantang huli na nakagapos po ako ako ng sketch plate. Ayun po kasi, ano po yun magdamag po namin po siya, tsaka halos maubos na po yung boses ko makakasigaw. Halos lahat po kami ng sigawan po talaga.
Okay, bilang isang Pilipino at bilang kabataang Pilipino, ano yung realization mo after mong gawin at i-portray yung character mo?
Siguro po, maging ano na lang po, kumbaga, maging responsable na lang po tayo sa lahat po ng mga gagawin po natin. Huwag po tayong kagaya po sa mga kabataan, kagaya ko pong kabataan na kagaya po ng iba sa amin na yung iba po kasi nalululong po sa droga. Hanggat maaari, iwasan na lang po. Or sa mga hindi pa po nakakatry, wag po nilang iiwasan talaga. Wag na wag po nilang susubukan kasi pag nasubukan po nila, sobrang laki na po kasi problema yung pinasubukan nila.
For Direct Ben, we know that as a filmmaker, you are creating a film not just only to entertain the audience, but to give something to us as an audience po. In your own, in your instinct, what value that you put to our, as a Filipino from this film?
Yeah, I will say that while I'm excited that the film is releasing in the US and Europe, I'm most nervous and excited how it will be received here, because it's a Filipino story, and it's impossible to see the film and not feel something very deeply, one way or the other. It's impossible. It's a very, hopefully, impactful film. What impact that will be, I don't know yet. But my greatest hope with any film, and especially this one, is that cinema is the most powerful window into the human condition. It can literally put you a fly on the wall in someone else's experience. And so there are a lot of, like I was saying back, even in the US now, there's a lot of divisions within society, and some groups, not getting along with other groups, and that's a human issue. I think also happens here. And so my hope is that this can humanize the humanity in all of us and help break down divides and maybe change our perceptions of, we're talking about stigma, like addicts and addiction. There's a stigma of what you've done in your past is how you are judged now. And my hope is that this can give a little bit of humanity and see that everyone is suffering, and film can actually show us the humanity, each of us to break down that suffering together, and hopefully build compassion. So my greatest hope is that the film can, break down those divides and see the compassion in all of us.
And my last question po, after this film being shown in the Philippines, what awaits for this? You will send it to other film festival abroad or the other countries?
Yeah, we're also excited because once the film releases here, we'll continue the releases around the world. And so there's a lot more US festivals it's going to play in, the release in the US. And it's making waves in the Hollywood community, like the people that have seen it are really responding to it. I even know Alessandra got called from a Hollywood producer recently about her performance here. So I think the exciting thing is that it can open the world up to Filipino talent and Filipino stories. And for me, it's more exciting to be a bridge builder in that way.
Thank you. We have last question from Mr. Pablo Taliman.
Hello. My questions, just a few questions. What is your feeling like shooting a film that is often the content of day-to-day news on TV? And then, knowing the situation in the Philippines, what do you want to achieve as a filmmaker as it applies to this project?
Yeah, I think the thing about fiction storytelling is that newspapers and journalism and nonfiction can tell you what happened, but fiction can tell you what it feels like. And so where we can see headlines or statistics, this goes beyond the story. I think for me, what really drew me to the story is looking beyond the headlines and saying, okay, there's a story of someone, a father who's been killed in the drug wars, and that's the story, but the real story for me starts the next day. What is it like to move forward with a hole in your family? And what does that feel like to every day after that? And that's when, a lot of times the news story moves on, but the family has to exist like this and live on. And so for me, it was really how do we understand the domino effect that happens after the headline. What I hope to accomplish with this, I really think, like I said, cinema has this power to build compassion and build understanding. I really think, we live in difficult times, and it's not, in many places in the world, and films can give us hope as much as they can show us the common suffering of each other. They can inspire hope in us, and it's my hope to do that.
Last question. What are the best things that came out from this collaboration?
For me, this was the first film that I created entirely from the heart. I had always approached creation as a little bit more intellectual or academic, and this film, I really felt like there was a hand that was guiding it into the world, and that I was this vessel for the story to happen. And for me, that was a breakthrough. And honestly, I felt a responsibility to the people that this film is about. Like there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people that are living in, it's been hard for a lot of people. And so I felt a tremendous responsibility. If I didn't get this story right, it would actually be hurtful or disrespectful. And so, I guess, and honestly, the collaborations. Like I've worked in situations where, when you're trying to make the film, there's a lot of other forces at play. But this one, everyone was playing the same song, and when you see it, you can feel that. It's not different. I say, being a director is like being a conductor in a symphony. Like you are there, but you are providing everyone the atmosphere to create. And sometimes you do that and people are playing different songs and you can feel it as say that didn't work. But in this one, everyone's playing the same song, and that's very rare. It's lightning in a bottle.
Okay. Thank you for the questions. Director Ben and Micko, please invite our media friends to help us support the movie.
Okay. Well, Thanks everyone. I'm Ben Rekhi, the director of Watchlist for Reality Entertainment with Alessandra De Rossi. Very excited to present this film to the Filipino audience. Been a labor of love. There's a huge art, a huge story about family. So come see it on February 19th. We'll see you next week.
Hello po, ako po si Micko Laurente. Ako po dito si Mark. Iniimbitahan ko po kayo manood po ng pelikula namin Watchlist. Tungkol po ito sa pagmamahalan po ng pamilya, between sa anak po at sa ina po. Kung gaano po sila katatag magmahalan kahit na puno po sila ng problema. Kaya po sana po panoorin niyo po. Marami po kayong lesson na matutunan dito. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Director Ben and Micko. Photo option.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.